everybody, and welcome to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is JD. Who's here with me?
It's Michelle.
It's Michelle. It's JD. It's We Watch Shudder, and it's god dang Spooktober, guys. Finishing up another Spooktober week with this one. Fuck it, Michelle. I'm recording this for the people who listen to it drop day. If you didn't get to it drop day, that's not my problem.
It is my problem because I'm full of anxiety and I'll be thinking about why you didn't want to listen to us on drop day.
This is the third.
Are we still friends?
This is the third episode we've recorded tonight, and it's going to be the last one we're recording tonight, but it's going to be a good one. If this is your first time tuning in to We Watch Shudder, hey, cool. Thanks for checking us out. Every year in October, we put out a new episode every day. This year, we're doing movies centered around Halloween. And we're also, for the first time, doing both, real, like horror, and also doing some more, as I've taken to calling them, family-friendly spookums. And some more nostalgic things from our childhoods and that sort of thing. Just enjoying the spirit of Halloween.
Fun.
The spirit of Halloween. You see what I did there? Anyway.
Yeah.
What's weird about this is we're now into our third episode, and we did the therapy portion on the first episode that we recorded, so there was no therapy portion in the last one, and we probably won't need one for this episode either, will we?
I might need one.
We may, this is the third episode. By the end of it, I don't know. You may be right, but we may have to come in with another one when we get to the...
I'm definitely on the verge of crying, so a therapy portion might be necessary.
What are you on the verge of crying about, Michelle?
Life?
I'm
full of ennui.
The wail of despondency.
That's me.
Anyway, Casper.
I don't want to be full of despondency. What I want to be full of is Casper discussion.
Casper, that's the movie we're talking about. 1995 classic Casper, based on Casper, the Friendly Ghost. Michelle, you said at the end of yesterday's episode that you have seen this movie bunches of times. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. I had this poster on my bedroom wall.
If you had to ballpark it, how many times would you say you've seen this movie?
30?
30? Did you watch it again for this episode, or are you just like, I know this fucking movie?
I did watch it again. I don't think I've seen this since I was a teenager.
Oh, wow.
It was absolutely a favorite. The VHS tape was very worn out from how many times I watched it. 30 actually might be a pretty big underestimate, but I don't know because I was a fucking child and I didn't count things yet.
That's fair.
But I loved Casper as a kid. Specifically this movie, not the fucking TV show.
Sure.
Any of them. This movie.
Right on. I caught parts of this movie one time on cable once, including most of the big finish, so I kind of knew where it was gonna land, but I had never actually sat down and watched the entire thing because, again, this movie landed in 1995. I was 14/15 years old, and I was just too cool for school. There's no way a 14, 15-year-old boy was going to go check out Casper the Friendly Ghost movie. I was already like, oh, let's go to the baker's place and watch Predator. That was, anyway. And so,
why not both? I was also watching Predator after I watched Casper.
Look, Michelle, some of us were just ahead of the game, ahead of the curve, and that was clearly you. I just needed some time. I just needed some time to catch up.
Sophistication.
Right, I had
appreciate it.
I had to get over my ego, or as other people would say, I had to pull my head out of my ass, which was a very long process. Anyway,
you have a very long rectum.
Wait, no. Ow, what a weird way to describe a rectum. It's very long.
That's why
it's very long.
Specifically the rectum, not a long intestine.
Well, if they didn't believe us that it was the third episode we've recorded tonight, they sure as fuck do now.
All
We're
I'm
talking
thinking about
about
is an
Casper.
abnormally long rectum now. That's all I'm
Oh,
going to be thinking about
just
for the rest
stop,
of the
Michelle.
episode.
Just stop. Just stop. Long rectum
But it
is my
looks so
next.
funny.
There should be a like a grindcore metal band called Long Rectum. That would be
Rectum, I
hilarious.
hardly knew him.
Rectum damn near killed. Anyway, Casper, Michelle, we found a good descriptive script on IMDb. Was it?
Yeah.
You want to read it?
Sure. An afterlife therapist and his daughter meet a friendly young ghost when they move into a crumbling mansion in order to rid the premises of wicked spirits. Casper, 1995, rated PG, ooh, edgy, hour and 40 minutes. JD, would you like to hit us with your spoiler-free thoughts? Or should I go first?
No, it's all right. I got you. This movie's all right. I didn't hate it. I feel like kind of a broken record on some of these. Not so much as with something like Halloween Town. I did find this something that I was able to connect to a little bit more. It's not quite like Addams Family for me. You know, the other Christina Ricci vehicle from just a little bit earlier than this. That's more my vibe because again, it's a little darker, it's a little gothier, a little more, whatever. But no, this was good. It's a solid story. It's very Disney. I don't know if it's actually from Disney, but it feels very Disney. There are some things that happen and some characters that show up in this and some actors that show up in this that I was like, how the fuck did and then of course I see Steven Spielberg's name as an executive producer and I was like, oh, because Steven Spielberg, even at that time, was already getting whatever the fuck he wanted in Hollywood. This film was also photographed by Dean Cundy, who was John Carpenter's DP for a long time, and also was the DP on Jurassic Park. Dean Cundy can do no wrong. This is, frankly, this movie is way better shot than it ever needed to be. Like this could have been a much simpler film, but some of the contraption designs are cool. The ideas behind it are fun, and I think this is a movie that we have seen a lot of descendants of, where people might not stop to consider they are descendants of it because they're thinking more about the ghost and not so much about the house. This is one of those the house is a character movies, and the house in this movie is a very early example of some stuff that we've seen a decent amount of, even already here in Spooktober 2024. I'm gonna go 3.5 skulls on this one. This was pretty all right.
3.5 from JD.
Michelle?
Oh, yeah.
As someone, look, I hadn't forgotten. Don't give me an oh yeah, like
No,
oh.
I forgot. I forgot what I was doing. I was just zoned.
I really have
in
to
the zone.
stop reading intention into the things people say to me. It's not...
Especially with me when I'm terrible at making people know how I actually feel.
I thought
so
you were...
not try to read my intention.
I thought you were making me feel bad as if I was just going to move on and like you were waiting.
You just said we weren't going to have a therapy portion. Here we are. I knew it.
I believe I said we would get there by the end of the episode, and here we are.
You're right.
You're welcome. No, Michelle, as somebody who had seen this movie a bunches and bunches of times and had the poster on the wall, but then how long do you think it's been since you had seen it?
At least high school.
Okay.
Which I acknowledge was 20 years ago.
All right. Well, then, Michelle, we had a similar experience a couple of days ago with Halloween Town. Let's see. Did this one hold up for you? How was your experience with Casper coming back to it after it being apparently the best thing you ever saw in your life for a short period of time?
Yeah, so I grew up watching this movie a lot. A couple days ago, we did the Halloween Town episode, and that one I did not think held up to the extent that I would have liked it to. That made me more nervous because this was a childhood favorite. And I knew that there would be some things that I would not like. But I wanted to give it a shot. Happy to report I still love Casper. This movie is really, really good. The effects of Casper are much better than you would expect them to be in 1995. I love the house. I love the up and atom machine or whatever that thing is called. Some of these gadgets. I love Bill Pullman. I love Christina Ricci. Devon Sawa makes a small appearance. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later because I have some thoughts on how I felt about Devon Sawa then and now. Eric Idle just showing up. And then the one lady, Kerrigan, Kathy Moriarty, just an icon. As I was watching this, I forgot how many times I quoted this movie as a kid because I started getting memories of like, oh yeah, piece of cake, piece of crumb cake. What are you gonna call? Someone else. Like all those little quotes immediately came back to me. And Can I Keep You being like one of the lines that made me absolutely swoon as a little girl. I really love this. And luckily it wasn't even just the nostalgia factor. There are some things where I'm like, if they made this now, they would know, like, this is unrealistic. This time is passing by too quickly. This girl is not going to get permission to have a house party, and then all the people are going to show up at the same time. Like, all of that would be more ironed out and realistic. But I have to give it some credit for being what it was in 1995, which was a kids movie. And I still really, really love it. I debated giving it 5 just to have it on the 5 skull section of our website, but I can't do that. It would be dishonest. Why can't you? It would be dishonest, but would be very funny. This is not Mad God. Are you kidding me? But I did really enjoy it, and I think I might add it to my Halloween rotation to start watching Casper again. There's also some stuff that makes me a little bit uncomfortable, which we'll get to later as well. And now as an adult, I'm like, oh, but I just have to look past it.
Yeah, it is of its time.
Exactly. So I love it. I'm giving it a 4.75. I'm very happy this stood up. I did not expect to like it. Later.
I am endlessly amused about how precious you are about your 5 skull ratings. I love it.
It's important to me.
I understand. It's fine. So yeah, 4.75 for Michelle.
Would be 5 because I'm a nice person. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, so it would all be 5 skulls.
Oh yeah, 4.75, 3.5. That's 4.125 average.
Correct.
Yeah, I do math quick. If you haven't seen the 29-year-old Casper, and you don't want us to spoil it for you, now is when you're going to want to stop listening until you have a chance to see the film. And then, of course, make sure you come back and we will we'll talk all about all the stuff that you just saw. Michelle?
Yeah.
So, as somebody who saw this movie at least 30 times and then didn't see it again for quite a while and then saw it again finally for the 3rd time tonight, would you summarize a film plot for us, please?
Yes, I will do my best.
I've just gotten this very like dramatic way that I introduce the film recap. Michelle, if you don't mind, please summarize the film.
I would love to, but inside I'm just panicking every time. For the record, panicking
fucking
every time. I feel like I got called on
or some shit.
Yeah, I got called on in class, and even though I did the homework and I know the subject material, you're gonna call on me, and I'm gonna be very scared that the one question that you will ask is the one that I did not understand. And I'm just panicking about that the whole time. And then I blank out on everything else. And then you ask me a question I do know the answer to, and I can't answer it. So then everybody thinks I didn't do my homework, even though I did. Anyway, therapy portion. So Casper from 1995. Casper is a ghost. What kind of ghost? A friendly ghost. But people are so scared of him, and he's just so lonely. And he lives with 3 uncles, I think they are, something along those lines. I think they're uncles, and their names are Stinky, Stretch, and Fatso. I had the McDonald's toys of these 3 growing up, and I loved them. Those were some of my favorite toys. I also had Casper, but he wasn't nearly as fun. don't even remember, but Brad Garrett as Fatso is my favorite of the uncles by far, despite the very unfortunate name, but also in 1995, and he seems more like a Guido than anything. So I'm like, you know what? It's okay that I bet that is like a point of pride for him. So Casper, he lives there. He's very lonely. There's a woman named Kerrigan, and she inherited the house, and she's real grumpy about that. But like, lady, if you keep that house and you sell it in 2024, you are going to be a kabillionaire. Have you seen this house? And she has, and she doesn't like it, and that's wrong. She has no idea what a good house is. But she meets Casper. She gets very scared. She decides they have to get rid of the ghost. So she hires an exorcist, Father Guido Sarducci. And he goes in the house and then comes back out with his head turned all around. And that didn't help. And then we have a cameo from Dan Aykroyd as a Ghostbuster, and he's trying to get the ghost out, but who are you gonna call? Someone else. And so this is a tricky situation. But then Casper sees a commercial, and in the commercial there is Bill Pullman, and he is Dr. Harvey, and he's a ghost psychiatrist, and he helps them pass over. And he has a daughter named Kat, aka Christina Ricci, looking so much younger than I thought was even possible. She is a baby in this movie, and I did not remember how young all these people are, especially because she's in Wednesday now, as well as Yellow Jackets. So I've seen her I think, yeah, she's Yellow Jackets. I've seen her a lot as a grown-up, and I think it just makes like a big, like, it's a huge difference from how I'm used to seeing her right now. But yeah, so Bill Pullman, Casper can travel through the phone lines, I guess, which does add a plot hole that he can travel through the phone lines. He can go get a newspaper from someplace else. Obviously, his uncles can go gambling at the horse track. So why are you so lonely? You're not confined to this house. But I do have questions about what the specifics of how Casper operates are. Maybe he's just never thought about it because he's 12 and he has not figured out that his logic is very flawed, and he could go wherever he wanted. He could go find other ghost friends. Anyway, he shows Kerrigan the commercial. She calls the ghost psychiatrist to see if he will be able to help get the ghosts out of the house. And he moves into the house, and his daughter is typical teen, and she doesn't love that she just got relocated for the 10th time in 2 years. That is excessive. She meets Casper right away. Casper's clearly all about her, and I know that they are both supposed to be 12 years old, but Casper is like a toddler in comparison to her, and she is a toddler in comparison to me, and that dynamic now feels weird, because they are just itty bitty babies, and I think it feels weird because as a kid I thought it was the most romantic thing ever, and I'm like, this is creepy. This is a very, like, I know Casper's supposed to be 12. He does not look or act 12, like, even in comparison to the other 12-year-olds. So that was a weird choice. But I also know that they had to go with this design because it is a classic animated show. They couldn't just make him into a 12-year-old boy suddenly. So Casper doesn't remember anything about his past. Kat helps him remember by showing him all these toys, and then he remembers how he died, which, yeah, way to go, Kat. Maybe you don't want to just spring that on somebody. Maybe have your psychologist dad there so that he can unpack it. Like, how rude. And Casper wants to become a real boy again. And he shows her that Casper's dad had created this entire very elaborate like room, and it's a whole lab, and I love the laboratory slash library slash whatever room of this place, when they're looking for the Lazarus machine, which can bring a ghost back from death one time. They only have enough for one person come back. Kerrigan, she's just there to steal the treasure, so she is sneaking around trying to do that, and then she winds up dying, and now she's a ghost, but like a sexy ghost, and good for her. And then Bill Pullman, he winds up dying when the uncles accidentally kill him. Love that scene. And then Casper decides to give up his one ability to become a living boy again and bring back Bill Pullman from the dead, because Kat will otherwise be an orphan, and will probably have to move away. And Casper had ulterior motives the whole time. Like, at least this way he could stay with her as a ghost. None of that is explained in the movie. It's just how I feel about the situation, that he's like, oh no, she'll have to go to foster care. So I guess I better give her my dad back. It's better than losing her altogether, even though I could travel through the phone lines and hang out with her. So Bill Pullman comes back. Kat goes to have her Halloween party. Bill Pullman's dead wife is now an angel, and she tells Casper that he can have his wish, but clearly she can kind of do whatever she wants with these guidelines, because she just sets a random time of 10 p.m. because he's only 12 years old, and then it's 10:30, and like this whole argument. But like, it seems like she could have done that for longer if she really wanted to. Like, what powers you got, lady? Are you just putting arbitrary rules on it for no reason? I have to interrogate her. I have questions. So he comes back as Devon Sawa, and then Devon Sawa dances with Kat on the dance floor. He makes her float, and then he kisses her, and right when he kisses her, he becomes a ghost again, and everyone gets scared and they run out of the house. Bill Pullman gets to briefly see his wife in what is a surprisingly very touching scene. The sound design of this movie does a lot of really good work and feels like a classic Spielberg movie, so him being executive producer makes sense. Everything is kind of happy and nicely wrapped up at the end. I don't remember what happened to Eric Idle's character, but I hope he's happy now. Casper, friendly ghost, good movie. The end.
Casper, the friendly ghost, the friendliest ghost you know. I think that's how the song goes.
With the most.
The ghostess with the mostest. Anyway, Casper. Yeah, something that I want to say that I agree with you on right away is, man, that ghost, man, like, I understand they're telling you he's 12 in the movie, but I don't know if you knew this, but that's the first time that anybody has ever actually, like, made a statement about Casper's age. He's never been given an age specifically previous to this movie, I guess. And man, that drawing, it sure does look real young, like not even 12, right? Like, that reminds me of like it looks like a ghost version of Elroy Jetson, right? And I guess
he's
I don't
really
know.
round.
Yeah,
very round.
Yeah, very very cherubic, very baby-like, very sort of resembling a Cupid type in certain ways. Now, that being said, also, yeah, holy shit, Christina Ricci looks so... Like, this movie was a couple of years after The Addams Family, and she looks younger here than she did as Wednesday in The Addams Family. Now, I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the way she was made up and the design and look of that character. But, yeah. So, also, I get that it's supposed to be a romantic thing, but that line, "Can I keep you?" Oh, man,
I love it.
Oh, it just felt
it's so cute.
Oh, people are not property. God damn.
Maybe they should be. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe Kat just wants to be a little trophy on a shelf, a little trophy wife for her ghost husband.
Maybe you're right, Michelle. Maybe you are correct. But yeah. So those elements, even just the simple, even if they are 12 years old, do we need to be seeing 12-year-olds kissing on TV? I don't know. Maybe I'm becoming a grumpy old man. Maybe it's not a big deal. It's just, maybe I'm just the one who doesn't need to be seeing it. But
then he transforms into a ghost while he's kissing her, and I think that justifies the kiss.
Okay.
That's why it's cute and not gratuitous, because I also feel that way sometimes, especially like after Stranger Things, for example. One of the actresses was like, everybody was very nervous about having their first kiss on film, so then they wrote specific scenes to make these people kiss on film, and I felt like that was kind of wrong to do to these preteens, and now I'm like hyper aware of it now, and this one feels justified.
I'm with you.
For a reason.
I think I'm just uncomfortable about any of that sort of stuff involving the very like young teens, and I'm just like, this is the kind of not for me that I actively don't want to watch.
Speaking of young teens, Devon Sawa. Oh my God. He is so. I remember swooning so much for when Casper's a real boy. And even like when he's walking through the crowd to go and grab Kat's hand so that he can dance with her, like one of the other girls turns and looks at him like he's the hottest person she's ever seen in her life. So rewatching this, I was like, obviously I'm not going to be into him anymore, but I can't wait to see how handsome Devon Sawa was, because I remember liking him as such a young child. And then I'm like, that is a baby. He's so like, I don't even understand. I can't even comprehend how a young me found this baby hot. Like, how? I can't even comprehend that anymore. He's so round and he's got the 90s haircut. No, I know. I would have been 6 when this came out. So he was even like an older guy who was too old for me. And I thought he was so hot when I was 6 and I had a little crush on him. And now I'm like, oh my God, this little goober.
You called him a goober.
And now we've come full circle because Devon Sawa's hot again as my age. But God, he was just such a little baby with the boy band haircut and everything. Oh my God, it's very funny to me. Obviously it's because I'm older, but like it's just very silly of like, this is who I swooned over.
We have another Devon Sawa film coming up later in Spooktober, Michelle.
What's our other Devon Sawa movie?
Idle Hands.
Which I still have not seen.
Oh.
Right. I've been waiting for us to do it on the show. And do you know how many people have messaged me this month asking when I'll see Idle Hands, because they're very excited about
sure
that.
quite
So
a
we
few.
need to get to that ASAP, because Seth Green and Devon Sawa, little hunk sandwich.
Oh my God, don't ever say that again.
No.
Little hunk sandwich? Jesus Christ.
No.
Oh God. I did want to mention
that bread.
This was not quite. I can't even say not quite. It's definitely not like Who Framed Roger Rabbit level of stuff. But I first of all, I want to say I find it interesting that you were like, oh, and here's Father Guido Sarducci, and then there's this cameo from Dan Aykroyd from Ghostbusters as Ray Stantz. Michelle, you are aware that Father Guido Sarducci is a character that existed long before this movie, right?
No.
Yeah, it was a Saturday Night Live character created by that guy who played him in this film, whose name escapes. Don Novello. Yeah, Father Guido Sarducci. Yeah.
I have to go see more of that because I love him. He's one of my favorite parts from this movie.
Yeah.
And I just made a note. I will be watching a lot of YouTube later because I did not know that was a character.
Yep. Father Guido Sarducci, famous one, like an early recurring character on Saturday Night Live. And then you have, again, the Ghostbusters reference right after that. And then the one that really takes the cake is when the ghosts are fucking with the dad, and he's looking in the mirror, and he transforms into Clint Eastwood, and then Rodney Dangerfield, and then Mel Gibson in 1995.
Pretty problematic.
And Mel Gibson in 1995, my point is, was at the very peak of his Mel Gibson-ness. And then the Crypt Keeper on top of it, right? Like, just you get those four, like, there were so many references like that. And then I saw in the credits, it's like, oh yeah, executive producer Steven Spielberg. That's exactly how this happened. I did appreciate the out of nowhere, like, 5-second appearance from the Crypt Keeper. I did like that quite a bit.
This movie, I truly am so surprised that I still loved it. I think partially because Halloween Town had me feeling really worried about it, but even just seeing the IMDb poster made me kind of happy because I had this on my wall. I was a much bigger Casper fan than I remember being, but as I watched this, I was like, We quoted that around the house. Oh yeah, I had those guys as a McDonald's toys. I had this poster, and I started realizing I have watched this movie a lot. Yeah, this was definitely a favorite from my childhood, and I might just start watching it every October to relive the glory days.
The movie is very casual with death. I believe you were talking about that. I mean, first of all, Kerrigan just fucking dies like halfway through the thing and turns into a ghost to become like ultimate villain Kerrigan. The thing to me is, okay, I get it. It's not really that kind of a movie, fine. But Kat's mother is dead, and part of the whole plot of this movie is how that's still a big deal for both her and her father. And then they're down in the Lazarus room or whatever, and she hasn't seen her dad for a while, and the next time she sees him, he's a ghost. She's way too fucking calm. She's 12 years old. Her mother is recently dead, and she's also now just learned that her father is dead, and she doesn't completely melt down and not like it's again, you have to suspend your disbelief. But I was like, wow, this movie is just real flippant with death. I guess you could get away with that in 95.
I had a similar kind of thought pattern because I was like, this movie, these people are going to have to reconsider how they feel about a lot of things, because when Bill Pullman's dead wife goes to talk to him and says, I'll be waiting until we're all together again, implying that there will be an afterlife, that they can all join up again. Well, I have had a lot of suicidal tendencies in my life and a lot of suicidal ideation. If Bill Pullman's character is the same, Dr. Harvey, I bet he's gonna be like, well, it might not be so bad. Like they're not gonna view death as like this bad thing, and that could be problematic. There's a pretty good short story along those lines by that one guy whose name I have forgotten right now, but there's actually a couple of them. Stephen King has a very good one too, but I'm thinking of one and it's driving me crazy. But where if people don't at least fear death a little bit, like that has troubling consequences. And that could also be why Christina Ricci is like, oh, well, this is kind of sad, but she also still lives with her dad, unlike her mother, who they don't know if she's a ghost or what the deal is. But yeah, she's very calm about like him forgetting her. How did he forget her that quickly?
Yeah,
everybody
no shit.
else like seemed to retain a little bit of memory. Kerrigan immediately went, oh yeah, I was being a real bitch. I need to go back to doing that. I care about earthly treasures.
Her mom, who has, I mean, again, it's somewhat recent, but has been dead significantly longer than the rest of them, still remembers everything, you know?
I bet he just didn't want to be a single dad anymore. So he's like, if I act like I don't remember my child, I don't have to be responsible for her.
One other thing I almost forgot to mention, where this movie is also, again, somewhat flippant about death, is that whole extended sequence where the three uncles are suddenly insisting that, like, oh, yeah, we know your dead wife. We know where she is. We can bring her to her. And like for a minute there, even I bought it, right? I was like, oh, where is this going now? And they go into that room, and I do agree with you. Like, I wish the name wasn't Fatso, but aside from that, I do think they handled the character pretty well. There are a lot of films and stories, for example, who would have made Fatso and Stinky the same character. And he's just like at no point do they make fun of him for being fat. It's just that name, right? That's the only thing there is. But when they go into that room and he's all done up, and you know, yeah, we can have a discussion about, you know, the image of male characters done up as women in movies. But for me, I was just like, what a fucking cruel thing to do to this guy, and they were so flippant about it in the film. I think maybe I've just seen too many really intense things and have been through enough rough experiences that I look at that stuff and I'm like, Okay, I can get how kids might not read this the way I do, but god damn, that's a whole different movie at 44.
Yeah, we need an R-rated Casper remake.
I don't think we do.
We do.
I,
But I want
I'm,
the Casper character to look the exact same, but he's now he's been dead even longer. So I mean, based on those photographs, he'd been dead at least 50 years. So on one hand, it's creepy that he looks like a toddler. On the other hand, he should have the mentality of like a 60-year-old, and that's creepy for a different reason. So there's just no space in which I'm happy that Casper and Christina Ricci are gonna hook up. I'm also concerned that it happened after this movie was done, that they like tried dating. And I don't like that idea at all, because she's like, now I know that you're secretly hunky. Um, but an R-rated movie where Casper is just like ready to pass on but can't, and he's just so haggard, and Kat died a while ago. Everybody who he's befriended has now died. Bill Pullman definitely has died. Dr. Harvey, by the time of this movie, and now he's ready to fuck some shit up, because he is just tired of living in this house, and I just need that R-rated Casper movie, please.
oh, I thought you were meaning like a reboot, like this same movie retold just as like an R-rated film.
Oh, I'd be okay with that too.
Well,
Death.
Michelle, I'm here to tell
gruesome
you,
death.
Casper the Friendly Ghost, Harvey Comics property originally. Also a Harvey Comics property was Archie Comics. And I've seen the R-rated or the more adult Archie, Riverdale, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and no, we don't need a risque Casper the Friendly Ghost, Michelle.
Now that you've pointed that out, though,
Casper
we
the Sexy Ghost.
do.
No,
oh my God,
we
Casper
don't.
the Sexy Ghost. Yes.
No, we do
You're
not
convincing
need
me
it.
we do need this, because Riverdale is one of those so bad it's good things.
No, it's not.
The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is legitimately very good.
It was all right.
I could use Casper getting interwoven into this, and played by Devon Sawa. And I mean Devon Sawa as he is today, playing high school Casper, because that's what you do with Riverdale.
Okay. I guess we're just
the guy who plays Archie is like late 20s.
We're just gonna have to agree to disagree on that particular element.
Casper
I guess.
The Sexy Ghost.
Casper the Sexy Ghost. Jesus. It does. This all does beg the question, however, Michelle. So the whole gimmick of the movie, or at least the gimmick with how they get rid of Kerrigan, is they trick her into admitting that she has no unfinished business, and then she goes away because she has no unfinished business. Casper's whole thing seems to be about how, like, I just want to be able to be a real person again for a while and not feel so lonely. Maybe get to kiss a girl or something. And it seems like he got all of that. Why is he still around? What the fuck is Casper's unfinished business? That's the movie. Maybe that's the R-rated movie that comes after this. Is Casper's just like, all right, we got that out of the way. Now we got some shit to fuck up.
Yeah, I
like
almost
Casper
said
and the
something.
three uncles just like go off as like hit ghosts, and they're just fucking shit up all over town.
For the record, I would like to say that I almost said something that would be very edgy, but because I'm growing as a person, I did not say it out loud, but I did laugh about it to myself.
Now you have to say it.
No, because it was really funny until I remembered that Casper's 12.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, because I was
Point understood.
like, I was like, oh man, that's really funny that, like, well, I guess kissing wasn't enough. We got to try something else.
Yeah, JD,
but then I went, fuck, they're children. I forgot.
Yeah, it's like maybe JD, keep it to yourself that Kieran Shipka made things really weird, awkward for you when you were watching. I couldn't even say weird or awkward at the same time. I probably should have kept that to myself.
Awkward.
Anyway.
But my counter argument is that Kerrigan clearly did not have unfinished business, aside from finding the treasure, which I could argue is unfinished business, but clearly it's not, because she was able, but she didn't go away until she acknowledged it. So maybe what happens is after the credits roll, Casper starts realizing, oh no, I am fulfilled. I can go home. And I like to think that that is the happy ending that they get, because there's no, if he stays on Earth and doesn't go to wherever he's supposed to go, then this is just a sad situation. And I like to think that Casper's happy, just living. And plus, here's what I want to know. Bill Pullman's wife died. Apparently when you die, you become a cartoonish ghost. At some point, she became a hot angel again. Does this mean that when Casper transitions on, he does get to look like Devon Sawa? Because that is a very good trade-off for Casper.
I think that's the read I would take from it. I didn't actually give it any thought until you mentioned it right now, but that does seem to be the difference, right? Because even Kerrigan, when Kerrigan becomes a ghost, is very cartoony. It's very obviously Kerrigan, and it's but it's very cartoony. And then when the mom
Bill Pullman
comes back,
the mom.
she's just looks like herself. I think that's clearly the thing.
Oh, I love that. I love that Casper gets to be hot in the afterlife. Good for him. I hope
If
that
he
we
ever
all get to be
gets
hot
there-
in the afterlife. He'll figure it out. I got faith in him.
Do you?
Yeah. He's going to realize, like, oh, it's not that I was just lonely. It's also that I want to murder 3 people. And then I can pass on. And I have a feeling he can do that. Have you met his uncles? His uncles are definitely down. What is their unfinished business?
I don't know. Fucking with Casper.
I need a Casper too. Yeah, I need a sequel explaining what these other people are trapped there for. How did they die? What's their backstory?
That might be worth seeing. I do also want to talk about, before we're done today, the house. What is it? Whitley Manor.
So cool.
Whitmer?
Whitfield.
It's something. It's a W word. It doesn't matter. This is, and I mentioned earlier how this, definitely feels like a precursor to other things. I'm thinking specifically of like The House with a Clock in its Walls. Or just any of these movies we've seen lately where, I can't think of any specific names off the top of my head, but I know I've seen this before. Like the weird house that suddenly, walls collapse and there are secret giant chambers, even Batman type stuff with a bat cave. I really like the way this did that. I thought the design of both of those things, both the Up and Atom machine, and then when they actually get down into the room where the Lazarus machine is, or the whatever the reanimator machine is called, I just really enjoyed the overall design of that. And looking back on it, like obviously there was some early CG going on here, but a lot of that house stuff was still very practical, right? And you know that because the CG they were doing was real obvious CG. And I thought it was very effectively done. And I love anytime, like I like those big sort of clockwork sort of shifting houses. It's a motif I've seen in several different movies. Dark City, the Christopher Nolan thing about dreams inside dreams, whatever the fuck that one was called. I really liked the house in this. It is a wonderful Big Spookums house. Should be more iconic than I think it is.
First off, Whipstaff Manor.
Whipstaff, yeah.
Had to go look it up. Secondly, I just had a memory pop into my head that I'm not going to go verify on Google because I feel pretty sure that I'm correct, that there was a Backstreet Boys music video filmed in the Casper house.
Ooh.
It just came into my head very, very vividly, but I'm going to go look that up later. Third, Whipstaff Manor is not real. It was built on set.
Oh, I mean, that's fine. It's just, I wish it was a real house.
Bummer. Yeah, I just, it's such a cool house that I hoped it was real. It reminds me a lot of the house from The Haunting, that Catherine Zeta-Jones movie. I fucking love The Haunting, and this feels so much like that house where you could just get lost in it. One thing about Kat, she's really cool. That was partially why I like this movie so much. Like, she was a really cool, like, not bitchy, just like neat and I don't know. I really liked her. She's way too cool with all these fucking cobwebs though. Fuck that. She just goes and flops on that bed. No. No, I would not even stay in that house. Like, they're downstairs turning on the lights and, like, pressing up a lever that's covered in cobwebs. No fucking thank you. Also, just realized, are the spiders in this house ghosts too?
Well, I don't know, but I can tell you this much: those are cobwebs, which means if there are spiders, they're not in those webs.
Well, I know the difference between a cobweb and a spider web, but there were spiders at some point.
That's what I'm saying is maybe they are in fact spider ghosts because these are all clearly cobwebs, so there's not any living spiders in them anymore.
Well, I'm not start thinking of ghost spiders.
Is it a ghost?
What if they're cartoony ghost spiders too?
Is it a ghost spider or is it a spider ghost? Sorry, I probably should.
Don't tell me. I know that.
Yeah, just don't. Just move on.
No, what is it from? It's driving me crazy.
No, it's Ghost Baby Ghost. That's all I'm gonna say. Just move on.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I'm probably going to cut that part out.
Why? That's such a good reference. I just could not remember what it was from. That's a very good reference. If you're out there and you understood that reference, hello, fellow Fargo friend.
He's going to be so mad at me.
That's such a good reference. Okay.
Who am I kidding? He doesn't listen to our show.
No, of course not. Nobody does. Well, I got nothing else to say about Casper except that, God, Devin Sawa.
Michelle, one of these days, I keep intending and then forgetting, but what I need to... They finally did release on DVD and Blu-ray Death Rider in the House of Vampires, the Glenn Danzig film that Devin Sawa stars in as Death Rider. Guys, I've talked about this a couple of times on the podcast before, but if you haven't been around... So Death Rider in the House of Vampires. This is the second Glenn Danzig film. It's an actual full-length feature as opposed to an anthology like his Veronica was. I flew to Las Vegas at the end of August, beginning of September 2021 to watch that movie in a theater. There were 3 people in the theater, and it was me, my cousin who also flew there with me, and my buddy who lived there who came with us. It was the world premiere that movie was in theaters 1 week, made about $20,000 across the board, and was done. And then it wasn't seen for forever and forever and forever, and it's now available on DVD and Blu-ray. And I have to see it again, and maybe we'll have to do it for the show one of these days, especially with you being all about Devin Sawa.
I am. Man's fine, but not as a 10-year-old. Jesus Christ, he's so young, and he had the Nick Carter haircut that I was so into. It now makes no fucking sense.
I think the Nick Carter haircut is what made me not even realize it was Devin Sawa until you told me.
Yeah, he's just such a little baby.
Well, if you like adult Devin Sawa, you need to see Death Rider in the House of Vampires.
It's on my list. I've been patiently waiting.
Go ahead. Well, one of us will get the DVD. I'm not gonna lie, Michelle. It'll be you before it's me, so you might as well go ahead and order it.
Probably right.
Oh, anyway, guys, I don't have anything else to say about Casper. Michelle doesn't have anything else to say about Casper. Tomorrow's episode is a new Shudder drop. What is the new Shudder drop tomorrow, Michelle?
I think it's called Mads because it's M-A-D-S,
Mads,
but
yes.
the S is capitalized, so we'll see.
I don't know anything about it except that it's called Mads with a capital M at the beginning and a capital S at the end.
For a while. I've been excited for this one. So, see if it lives up to expectations.
Coming back next week for Spooktober with, we got Murder Party, Hocus Pocus, House of a Thousand Corpses, The Halloween Tree, Idle Hands, and The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Getting into some really good classic stuff.
I can't wait. Look, that last run for the last week there, even though it's not a full week. Look, guys, this is our last. This is from the 27th through the 31st. Night of the Demons. Ernest Scared Stupid. Holy shit, I'm so excited. I haven't seen that movie in 30 years, and I'm so excited. Trick or Treat, Spaced Invaders. Oh my fucking god, you got it dorked out, did you, Framus? I'm not gonna ruin it for everybody. And then on Halloween Day, because the big thing about this was we want to do movies that involve Halloween, but we don't want to do any of the Halloween franchise movies except Halloween 3, Season of the Witch on Halloween.
One of those.
Oh, it's going to be a great week. Next week's going to be good. We have a hell of a big finish for Spooktober this year. I'm so stoked on it. You got anything else you want to chat with these people about with, Michelle?
Devon Sawa.
Oh, Devon Sawa.
So nice, but not. He went on to make Final Destination, and for that, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
Cool. Say Devon Sawa, Michelle.
Oh, Devon Sawa, Michelle.
For more horror content, visit WeWatchShutter.com, where you'll find our world-famous, patent-pending Ghoul blog and Squelch files, as well as a schedule of upcoming episodes. Find us on social media at WeWatchShutter on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Twitter, if you're still doing that for whatever reason. You can email us. mail@WeWatchShutter.com is the address. mail@WeWatchShutter.com. You can even call and leave us a voicemail, 701-566-9510. No, really. 701-566-9510. Give it a shot. See what happens. We Watch Shutter is a production of Rat Factory Media.